So today is the day that we are going to get this thing running. We're way behind on videos. I got a backlog that is getting way too big, filling up hard drives left and right, and the car is still on jack stands. It's really hard to keep good updated content when I can't seem to get the vehicle from its location. And building a Hemi is taking way longer than I thought it should. But first, let's go back, because this is getting way ahead of ourselves. Let me show you what we had to do to get to this point. Because if you remember, the last episode we were changing these round port headers to square port headers. You know, typical cheap header problems. But honestly, once we got them installed, I was surprised at how well they actually fit the chassis. There was no bashing or rearranging the pipes at all. And I wanted to keep the metal valve covers, but the metal valve covers make you have to run the early generation coils with the spaghetti mess coil wires running all over the place. So I had these off the parts car, so that's what we were going to run. And then from there, it was just a matter of throwing all the accessories back on, the power steering, the AC compressor, the alternator, which is not a lot of fun to put on. And I threw the intake on, threw the fuel rails on. We installed the newer coils that don't have the ugly spark plug wires, which meant I had to add the later model coil pigtails and move the harness off of these clips down on top of the valve cover for a better look. And the only little area I had to modify was we had to delume that to extend that wire. And then that's when I realized, once we put the throttle body on, that the new location of the harness made it to where we couldn't hook up the throttle body harness. And honestly, this is the last part I want to modify on a harness. These are way too susceptible to interference, and it's all twisted pair wire. It's just a mess. But I don't see any other choice. I should have swapped the 07 harness into this car, but I didn't want to mismatch anything, only to have to cut 6 wires that control the most important part of the engine. Alright, it wasn't too bad. Actually came out pretty good. Rewrapped them a little bit to try to keep some interference out. Probably gonna wrap these in foil tape. Then lube them up with some braid. Make it look pretty. And where we sit, a week before we need to get this thing to the event. The engine is all back together. Just need to put an intake on it. Hooked up the PCV system, which needs to be a hose from there to there, now that I remember. I still need to top off the oil, so leave the dipstick out to remind me. And I need to top off the coolant, because there's none in it. And I have to charge up the AC. That's important. It's going to be 76 degrees in Irwindale. All right, cool, awesome. Really close. So here's a device I picked up back in the dealership days. It's actually a pretty nice one. This one's from Cornwell. This is a vacuum filler. This thing actually uses air pressure with a Venturi effect to create a vacuum on the cooling system, which right now we have in bypass. Right, that compressor is loud, so this creates. I'm not going to let it run because I don't want the compressor to turn on. So this creates a vacuum and sucks all of the air out of the system, out of all the nooks and crannies, through from the heater core, from the radiator, from everything. This makes it so you don't have to use the air bleeds. And this has been pretty much, once you run this is a 100% foolproof system. Well, it's all in user error, but 99% idiot proof. Because like this is a high point which is going to be an air pocket. This is a high point that's going to create an air pocket. Because on these, the radiator actually sits lower than the engine. So fire this up, and we close the bypass. And of course, it's been dropped a couple times, so the gauge isn't all that accurate. But I've honestly had this thing for probably 15 years. So you can see it sucks everything closed. See the lower ones all collapsed too. And we just run that so the gauge doesn't move anymore. And we got Dad filling up the 5-gallon bucket, which is not going to be tall enough. We're going to have to set it on top of something. And that's the sound of the system actually finding water. And you can actually shut it down and actually let it hold vacuum to see if there's any leaks. Looks pretty good. We're going to fire it back up. So this is a mix with distilled water and a universal extended coolant. This is a 50-50 of the distilled
50-50,
and the...
yes.
It's like lemonade.
Yeah,
And we drop the end with this filter on it, strainer anyway, and why don't you hold that down in there. And it sucks it down fast. See the air pockets coming out. It's not really air, but it's aeration from the vacuum. Tell me when that's low. Now this motor was definitely empty, the radiator was definitely empty, and the heater core is probably clogged up, so we don't worry too much about that. Because if you remember the original fuel system, the original coolant system looks like that.
yeah.
That's lovely. That lasts a little bit out. Yeah, let's call that good. Because it's already overfilled. Everything off, and the system should be fully filled. I think, how many gallons did it take?
Almost 4.
Almost 4 gallons. That's about right. So here we go. We're finally getting ready to start this thing for the first time. We're going to prime the fuel system, check for leaks. Should the only place that can leak is the place we messed with. Oh, and the fuel injectors. These injectors and rail came out of the 07 parts car, so they haven't had fuel in them in probably 3 years. So go ahead and roll the windows down and prime the fuel system. Right here at the throttle body, that's a good sign. See what we didn't unhook. So this is a stock tune. I haven't messed with it at all. The secondary O2s are not hooked up. So hopefully that doesn't throw it in some kind of limp mode. But you're probably going to have to feather the throttle a little bit. It might not idle.
Should I prime it again?
Yeah.
Try it?
Yep. It's going to be loud. Ground wire. All right, try it again. Prime it. Keep going.
Keep going as we started.
No. Now you can. Like these injectors are all clogged up.
That's what I'm thinking. Smell bad gas.
Oh, that's right. I was going to put fuel in the tank.
Do we have any?
Doubt it. Let's put some fresh 91 in it, since this is the best we can get in this state. You know, like Lucky Costa says, when you got 5 gallons of bad gas and you put 5 gallons of good gas on it, you have yourself is 10 gallons of bad gas. Alright, temp number 2. Fresh gas. The fuel set in the injectors for a little bit. It almost was running before, so go ahead. Are you giving it any throttle?
Not that time.
Okay. Well, at least we know the coils are firing.
Why?
Because it's firing.
Okay.
Like it doesn't have any fuel pressure or something. Just stop. Alright. Guess I gotta do something. So now I'm just going to perform an old school trick of just hooking up a 12-volt source straight to the injector. You know, in the diesel world we call it an injector buzz test, just to make sure that the internals actually work. And nothing. That one's not making a noise either. Nope, I don't think that one's any good either. Alright, now we're doing a sanity check. I'm gonna go get the injectors that I know ran. Yeah, that's the noise we want to hear. Nice, solid, chunky click. We'll try one more, and I'm not even going to test the rest. We're just going to swap them out. Oh yeah, look, you can actually see some of the old fuel coming out of that one. So, we're just going to swap the injectors. We're not even going to mess around. So here we are. I think this is the 3rd or 4th attempt. We have another set of injectors in it. These are the injectors that were in it when the car drove itself in. We did a couple buzz tests with them and they seem already in better shape than the other ones. So I'm gonna get in and try to start it up. Alright, the oil light was off, so we're going to do it again. Oh, okay. We're not going to keep running it because I know it needs a tune. And I don't have any ventilation in here and it's really going to start to clog up. All right, fired up. That sounds actually horrible. So while Dad's trying to get this thing started again, again, this still has no tune on it. We're trying to get it outside so I can actually hook a laptop up to it and start dialing it in. But we skipped a bunch of stuff last night, as in we didn't record anything because we're running out of time on the project, so we're doing a lot of things off camera, which I shouldn't because that's the whole point of the videos. But just check out how rough this tune is right now. So if there's nothing blinking on the dash, it's not. It's ridiculously quiet. Huh? Can't even tell it's got long tooth headers. All right, save a move. Well, this is the worst running CAN car I've ever seen that doesn't have a mass airflow sensor. This is a little bit more beyond what the forums say it should run like. There, we made it over the hump. Yay! It's so magnificent. So I'm behind on footage. So this thing I now have pretty tuned enough to where it runs, idles, and I think it can drive around the block, but it seems to have developed an oil leak. So see, starts right up now. Has a little dip in throttle, still working on fine tuning it. I mostly filled the computer up with 6.1 data because the cam is very similar to a 6.1. And I just wanted to hold for a second because I just wanted to give a shout out to the HP Tuner software suite that made that extremely easy to do, to just copy airflow data and VE tables from one tune to another. And if you'd like to hear more details about that, just let me know. I'll make a whole nother video on it. Oh, guess we're backing it up. All right, you can shut it off. Let's not get it too hot. Seems like 2 steps forward and 1 step back with this project. And I'm learning that we are having some title issues because we were trying to register this thing in Michigan, because that's ultimately where this car is going to end up next year, is the last event of the summer, which we like to run, which is the 28th Street Metro Cruise in Wyoming, Michigan. Last year it was kind of because they had way too much police presence, but it's what my family likes to do because it's kind of a laid-back event. It's close to everybody's houses. So ultimate goal is to get this car to that event, which is why we were going to register in Michigan and played it like we were going to register in Michigan. So we're working that out right now, and hopefully we can get it worked out before Hot Rod Power Tour, or I have to go to Plan B, which I don't actually know what that is yet. So we just got done putting the exhaust manifolds back on for emission reasons, and we're going to start this thing up the first time. It was already too quiet before with factory exhaust and long tubes. Let's see how quiet it is now. Now you get to hear all the ticks. Now, before I make you sit through another session of this engine sitting here and idling, which seems to be what most of this video is, let me explain that we had just put the factory exhaust logs back on in the catalytic converters because we have decided that the only way to get this car registered in time for Hot Rod Power Tour was to get it to pass emissions and go down to the DMV and personally pay to get it registered in California. So we had about 6 hours before my smog shop closed. And I needed this thing to pass all the readiness tests with an aftermarket camshaft in it with ported heads and a cold air intake, which I just barely got this thing to idle, let alone pass any kind of readiness test to pass an official inspection. Mess with the tune a little bit, see if we get it to pass smog. Oh, so we are out in the middle of the desert, doing the first test drive of the car. It's not actually broke down. It's so busy around here because it's rush hour that I'm just out in the outskirts of town. Town's way over in that direction, but I'm using my favorite test road to try to run the readiness test for emissions inspection. We've already done a couple laps. I got the laptop in the passenger seat. It's actually running pretty good. The oil pressure is a little lower than I'd like, and I think we have an exhaust leak, or my push rod's are the wrong leak, because we got a little tick in the wheel well. But that's all right. We've already had it up to about 85 a couple times, but I'm slowly working this tune to try to get more baseline on it. It was running a little hot. Got up to 212, which isn't really hot, but it's only like 70 degrees outside. But I think it's just working on an air pocket, I hope. But I'm gonna get back in, we're gonna do another lap, and then we'll check the readiness test. And I've got an hour or so before the smog shop closes for the day, but I don't think I'm gonna get it to pass the O2 heater test, because every time I reset the computer, it resets that one. And unless the car is dead cold, it's not going to run that monitor. So I think we're done with being able to get it smog today. But if I can get it to pass the readiness test today, that'll mean 100% sure that I can get it to pass tomorrow morning. So back on the run it up, run it down, come back, check it. See you in a bit. All right, here's attempt number 1 to see if this thing will pass the readiness monitors. And no. The only thing I got it to pass was EGR. It's not good. Okay, that was our second lap around. Let's go ahead and see what we got. No change. Well, still got the EGR going. Shoot. Codes. None of the monitors ran. Alright, this is going to be the last attempt. I adjusted some settings, leaned it out a bit. And let's check. This is the last one because the laptop's about to die. And I don't want to be out here without it. Holy shit, it did catalyst. That's pretty much the hardest one. I'm pretty sure, I know I got the heater running once before. The evap system, I don't think I need to worry about that. I'll have to talk to my smog guy about that. But I'll run heater in the morning and we'll do a couple rips and hopefully the O2 sensor pops on at the same time. Nice. Okay, we're getting somewhere. All right, so it's the following morning. This is our last morning before power tour. We technically should be driving this car to Irwindale like right now. But after a pretty successful test drive / emissions monitor run, the car is actually, I don't know, pretty decent. The brakes are a little probably just because it's been sitting so long and they're rusted and all warped up. Because rust makes the brakes heat up way faster than you want, but I'm sure the brakes are already shot anyway. But last time I checked on the monitors, I had one away, which was the evap system, which I have to look up because I always forget if a 2006 doesn't have to have all the monitors run except for the one. And then once I check that, if it's good to go, we're going to take this thing down to my local smog inspection shop and get it smogged. And once it's smogged, I have 2 years to do whatever I want to the drivetrain of this car. Let me get the scan tool hooked up and see where we are. So my laptop that I usually use with the HP tuner, module, I let die and I forgot to charge it up last night. So we're going to use the old Altel. I think this is the 806. This is usually what I run. This is my good workhorse. Let's see. Yep, monitor's okay. We'll just go to readiness. Again, if you're not from California or maybe New York, you never probably even knew these existed. So let's see. So misfire okay. Like I said, everything ran except for the evap systems, the incomplete. The one that was scaring me yesterday was the catalyst, because we ended up putting the catalytic converters back on the car. And I was worried that the cam might not let that run because it would make the car run really rich. And it might run rich enough to where the oxygen sensors won't switch. And if they don't switch, it won't run. The car thinks it's bad. So I'm going to check to see if we could run this without the evap, and then we'll run it down to the station and hopefully it passes. So now we're sitting at the smog station. Waiting for the smog technician to come back from test driving a vehicle. But according to my computers, this thing should pass smog no problem. So once it passes, that's a huge weight off my shoulder. And then it'll be a California legal car. Not what I wanted. Wanted to be a Michigan legal car, but this will give me a clean title to take to Michigan, so in 2 years we can register this thing the right way. So now that the registration and title debacle was over with, we were able to start doing odds and ends of the car, just to fine tune what we could, because we only had the rest of the day and we were taking off to Pomona early the next morning. So Jeff went ahead and put on the side skirt, the one that I wanted to paint, but we didn't have a chance to get the right paint, so we kept it silver, and it looks better than just leaving it off. And then I was able to find a local graphic cutter in the area and had them whip up some cheap vinyl text graphics, because going to Power Tour kind of on the last second, I was not quite sure how to use that as content for the channel, because really we're kind of a drift channel, not really a drag channel. I've never actually ran a car down a drag strip. Been to many drag strips, helped friends at drag strips, built cars for drag strips, but I've never ran a car down one. I figured, well, it's a new channel, I gotta do something, so big wagon, I'm just gonna make it a rolling billboard. And most accountants I've talked to, now it's actually a write-off, right? So I learned real quick on this. You can see I finally switched to the microfiber tower, but before that I was using a O'Reilly rewards card that was too flimsy and the edges were too crap and was just causing all kinds of problems. But got the driver's side and the passenger side done. I wanted to get it in orange because that's our race team colors, but the shop didn't have any orange vinyl big enough to do this, so white it is. In fact, here's my original rendering I made for this. Yeah, I might have been a bit ambitious. So I hope you've been enjoying this series, the build of this car. This was a last second add-on to the channel. I was just hoping to use the cars that are around the yard so I wouldn't have to keep watching them rot into the ground, and I kind of just added another car to that collection. Not exactly the smart thing. But, you know, we had the couple Magnums and a bunch of Hemi parts, so I technically used all those up. But now I threw all the parts in this Magnum instead of the other Magnum, so now I don't know what to do with those Magnums, and I don't have it in my heart to scrap them. But I need to just start going... After the debacle with the title on this, it's going to be, if it doesn't have paperwork, I got to get rid of it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Playing with California smog is... Well, I don't have a problem dealing with it, but it's hard. It's not very good content. You know, it's pretty much like, oh, fighting with the law. It's like, I don't want to fight with the law. So I'm probably just going to stick with my original idea, which was what the Comet is. It's all late model parts in a smog exempt chassis. That way I don't have to worry about any of that. Getting in trouble, no EPA. But if you've been watching up to this, thanks a lot. This is, looking at the views online, this is so far the biggest, not saying much because there's only like 5 videos on the channel, but so far this car is getting the most views. And I hope to look back at this video when I say this, we're up to 25 subscribers. So from this time last week, we're up almost 400%. So please, keep bumping that number. I know it's little goals, but the whole reason of the YouTube channel is to be able to share my content and keep myself and my dad motivated to keep building these cars. And hopefully we keep building the channel and get better equipment so I'm not doing my stretched out selfie camera. But like I said, thanks for watching. Even if all you do is just tap the like button, hell, even if you just view it, I appreciate any of it. It's fun watching numbers go up. It's not fun watching numbers go down. So I appreciate everything everybody's offering. Hopefully next time you see us, we're driving this car to Hot Rod Power Tour. I still don't quite have an idea of how we're going to make that. It's more like we're going to hop in this car and we're just going to wing it. We're in it for the long haul, so we should be in this for almost 3 days, but we're going to see what the scene is, see what how the situation, and see if if it'd be worth our effort to deal with California traffic, because I think everybody who's in this event has no idea how bad traffic gets between Irwindale and Vegas on a Friday in the evening. So we might just, maybe we don't like the vibe, we'll just head out at like noon, come back to the house, sleep at the house, and then head out to Vegas early in the morning. But again, I'm rambling, so please like and subscribe. Check out the other videos, because that's the first time I get to say that. We have a Facebook account. We have an Instagram account. I don't really want to do TikTok. When the season starts up, we're going to be back at drifting. So there'll be some race car content. So please keep watching. Hope to see you guys in the next video. If this video comes out before the Power Tour is over, come take a look at the car. And it's almost a classic at this point. It's not nearly at what the render I had was, but you know, the fact that we got it done in less than 3 weeks, that's something. So, thanks for watching. Keep working on your garbage, and I'll see you soon.